Alright, welcome to part 2. This is cosecant x, cotangent x, minus cosine x. All are C functions. And we are combining them this way and are asked to simplify it. So let's see. Coming to mind on this one, I can't see, we don't have a denominator. So the only time you multiply by the conjugate is when you have a denominator. It's not easily adding here. There's nothing to factor, so I guess I'll just switch to sine and cosine. Let's give it a whirl. Cosecant, you know, is 1 over sine x. If you don't know, please come tomorrow knowing that. Cotangent, you know, is cosine over sine. And cosine is like that. So I was hoping something would simplify right there. Let's change sine times sine to sine squared. Alright, at this point, the only thing I can think of is to algebraically add those. When I say algebraically add, that includes subtraction. So let's multiply this one by sine squared x over sine squared x to get it ready for algebraic addition. So I'm going to drop you off kind of early on this ride and let you coast on in. So you're going to give these the like denominator, sine squared. In the top, you could factor out a common term, notice a trig ID, and take it from there. So hopefully I gave you less and less help as we went down the line so that you can have more and more practice strengthening your trig muscles. Alright, did I set the timer again? I didn't. So do 62, 68, and 100 by the time you come in tomorrow. And then there shouldn't be many left on that list. We'll finish those in class. Just a second. Alright. So the rest of this video, I'd like to show you what's coming up and what we will be working on the rest of class tomorrow, and that is not the simplify problem anymore. So here, wipe your hand, wipe your face. All right, no more simplifying problems, but you'll be glad to know that they are closely associated with simplifying. So simplifying is out the window, and show that. Show that has appeared. I'm only going to show you one show that problem, and they come from all over the place. So I just show you one and let you work on the others tomorrow in class. So here's our first one. Write it in your comp book. You may start a new page. Is that 119? All right. We'll fight that one out again tomorrow. If it's not, you know which page it's supposed to be. And you just call it show that on the top. The reason we call it show that is the problems come starting with the word show that. So we creatively titled them. Let's see if I can find the one I want. The first one is show that 1 over sine x plus 1 plus 1 over cosecant x plus 1 equals 1. Let me see if that shows up. I have a little bit of a glare going on there. So hopefully, if I read it to you, you can write it down. 1 over sine x plus 1 plus 1 over cosecant x plus 1 equals 1. Alright, so you can right away notice the difference between show that and simplify. In simplify, you aren't given the answer, but in show that, you are. So in a sense, the show that's are easier than the simplifies, because at least you know when you're at the final end line. So we are to take this and step by step apply trig IDs and all the various things from the trig travel case until we get with a 1. So in a sense, it's like a proof. So I'm proving to you that this equals that. So I call them show that's. All right. So first of all, I'm going to give this, I'm going to use move this over so I have some room here. So I have 1 over sine x plus 1. Write this in your comp book on your new page and follow along. I'm going to algebraically add these because that's what my mathematical nose is sniffing out. So I'm going to give this the like denominator by multiplying it by cosecant x plus 1 over cosecant x plus 1. And this one I'm going to multiply by sine x plus 1 over sine x plus 1. And when I do that, the numerators become cosecant x plus 1 plus sine x plus 1. So I'm grabbing that and that plus sign. And then the bottom, we have cosecant x plus 1 times sine x plus 1 as the common denominator. All right, with that, we shall notice that the 1 plus the 1 here creates a plus 2. So I'll go ahead and stick that in. And now I will just go ahead and multiply out the bottom. So hopefully that leads to something. So multiplying, these are not a squared plus b squared. I mean a plus b minus a plus b times a minus b. It's not that. So I do have 4 steps to do. So here's the top. Cosecant x sine x plus sine x plus 2. And on the bottom, I get cosecant x sine x. You should know what happens to that by now. Times cosecant times 1, which is just cosecant, plus 1 times sine x, and then 1 times 1 is 1. So cosecant x times sine x, well that's cosecant is 1 over sine. So what's 1 over sine times sine? It's just a one big fat 1. So, and this 1 combines with that 1 to give me a 2. And look at that, the top and the bottom are completely the same. So they can cross out and give me a big fat 1. So, all right. That's how our show that problems work. Let me give you a warning or an example of a confusion that some students of mine have had in the past. It turns out we were doing show that problems one year, and we were doing them and doing them and doing them. And I tell you, it was about 3 days into doing them, a student raises their hand and says, "You mean the answer to the show that problem is the steps in between?" So in the very beginning, we were asked, let me get rid of some of my initial steps here. In the very beginning, we were asked to show that this equals this. And so the problem was stated and the answer was stated. And the work for a show that problem is all the steps in between. So they have to be shown, and every step leads to the next step until you begin with this and end with that. All right. So yes, students, it is the steps in between. So I'm sorry I didn't make that clear when I taught that year. So when you're doing a show that, it is all the steps in between. That is the important part. All right. All right, that's all for tonight. Hopefully, when we get into class and we begin our show that problems, they will click and fall into your lap and you will actually enjoy them. All right, till then, good night.